Hey everyone, Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Borla S-Type dual rear exit exhaust system with chrome tips, fitting 2019 and newer 5.3-liter Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra 1500s. If you're on the hunt for a high-quality exhaust system that produces a great sound without a ton of volume for your Silverado or Sierra, Borla has got you covered right here with the S-Type. This is going to appeal to you if you want your truck to make some more noise, but you aren't willing to sacrifice your eardrums or give an inch on quality. Now on our loudness meter, we're going to give this one a 3 out of 5. So if you're looking for the loudest exhaust possible, this probably isn't your system. However, this one is going to provide you with that deep V8 rumble and an aggressive note, but it won't be as obtrusive as some other systems, making it a great choice for a daily driver or to give a little extra spice to that company hauler. Now, if you're familiar with Borla's lineup, you know that they offer different exhaust systems that vary in the type and volume of sound. What we have here today is the middle child, the S-Type. And as you heard from the clips, this sounds pretty good without being too obnoxious. It still has that characteristic Chevy small block V8 rumble. It's a great sound, but it's not going to get people shaking their fists at you as you drive by. Now, inside of the cab, you'll get some additional volume as well, but much like on the outside, it's not going to be too bad. Definitely noticeable, but it doesn't produce so much volume that you won't be able to hold a conversation or listen to music. This is one that is really a good balance that will allow you to enjoy your new exhaust without feeling overwhelmed by it. And that's because Borla really takes great care to make sure their exhausts are done in such a way that there is no drone at any speed, in any gear, or at any RPM. Now, they accomplish that thanks to their unique polyphonic harmonizing technology, which this is essentially the same type of science that goes into tuning pipe organs or other wind instruments. They use different lengths of pipe with perforations and things like that to control different frequencies, and that eliminates the obtrusive or dissonant sounds in the system. Now, in this system, you'll be able to see a little bit of it. They're right there inside of the muffler. So that means you're not going to get that annoying droning sound when you're cruising along like you might with a less expensive or less well-made system. And it's going to keep the tone intact. So that's really the magic of that setup. Now, finishing this whole thing off are these 3.5-inch quad chrome tips. Now, these are going to take the place of your stock valence tips that are built into the bumper, and they add a nice little bit of flair. I really like the rectangular shape of them, and they've got the Borla logo stamped right in on the top there. It's not too over the top, but something that the keen eye will notice. And if you ask me, they should have come this way from the factory. Now, this is a really high quality setup as we've come to expect from Borla. They make all of their exhausts out of T304 stainless steel, so you're getting excellent corrosion and rust resistance here. As you can see, it's also a nice looking system. The piping is all 3.5-inch mandrel bent tubing that goes into the muffler, and then it's 2.75-inch tubing back to those tips. There are no wrinkles or creases in the middle. All the welds are pretty nicely done, and everything is finished off nicely too. So all the exhaust gases are going to flow smoothly through this system, allowing your engine to breathe better than it would through the stock system. And of course, you've got those chrome quad tips that we were just talking about, finishing the whole thing off. Now, these also feature something unique in that they feature a ball joint setup, meaning that you can adjust these easily. So they're going to sit perfectly within the cutouts of the bumper, not something we see on a lot of other systems. As with any Borla or other exhaust system of this quality though, this one isn't going to come cheap. This one is going to run you about $1,800, which does position it in the upper end of the category as far as pricing goes. Though it's not quite as spendy as some others, this is still a premium product, and thus it's going to command a premium price. Overall though, I think this represents a really good value for your money, because you're getting a really high quality system with solid construction, good features, some great tech built in, and of course, that killer sound. Coming in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty scale, this is certainly a job that can be accomplished at home. You should budget about 2 hours to get everything wrapped up as well. The kit overall is pretty inclusive, however, it is worth noting if your truck is a crew cab with the 6-foot 7-inch bed, you will need an adapter that Borla makes. Of course, we do have that available on our website as well. And to remove the stock exhaust, you are going to need to make a cut to the stock system, but it is only one, and we'll show you how to do that, plus the rest of the install right now as we head out to the shop.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, an electric ratchet, an exhaust hanger remover tool, 10mm ratcheting wrench, a hand ratchet, an extension, 10 and 15mm sockets, and a 13mm swivel socket.
What's up guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our Sierra. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall clip showing you how to remove your factory exhaust, and I'll meet you right back here for the install.
Alright guys, so we've got our truck in the air, and the first thing we're going to do is start at the tail section, and we're going to go ahead and unbolt this crossover pipe. So that's got a 2-bolt flange connecting it. So it's a 13 millimeter swivel socket and extension on our impact. We're gonna fish that up in there, unbolt those 2 nuts, and then we can go ahead and remove the rear hanger and get this driver's side crossover tube out, and then we can move on to the rest of our system. So now we're going to come back to our tail section, and what we're going to do is remove this entire isolator. Instead of trying to get this out of the isolator, it's much easier to just go ahead and take this 15 millimeter bolt out and remove this whole assembly as one piece, and then we can take it off once it's on the ground. So we'll grab our 15 mil socket on our impact and go ahead and run that bolt out. Now we will need to support our tailpipe here while we go ahead and unbolt that. Now that we have that unbolted, we'll go ahead and unhook this from its locator and twist that down. So now we've got our driver's side tailpipe in hand, and what we're going to do is push it towards the driver's side wheel here, so to get it off of the 2 mounting studs on that flange, and then we're going to go ahead and drop it down and pull it back and go ahead and get it out. So like so. So now we can go ahead and start removing the main section of our catback. So what we're going to do is start at the ball flare clamp here at the end of our Y pipe, and we're going to go ahead and loosen that up. We're going to go ahead and remove the hangers as well, moving all the way back to the tailpipe, and then go ahead and remove the other rear hanger isolator just as we showed you on the driver's side with another 15 mil bolt. We're going to go ahead and throw a pole jack under the muffler to help support the system while we do this. So now we can go ahead and grab our 13 mil socket on our impact, loosen up this clamp, get it out of the way. Pop this off here. Now you just want to push this back far enough to where it doesn't interfere with your connection. So next we're going to go ahead and remove this hanger from the isolator. So we've got our hanger removal tool. We'll go ahead and pop that out. So now we've come to the rear of our system, and just like the other side, we're going to go ahead and pop this rear hanger isolator off, then go ahead and remove the 2 mid hangers at the muffler, and then go ahead and remove our system. So we've got our 15 mil socket on our ratchet. We'll go ahead and pop this off, work our way up to the middle 2 hangers, and then go ahead and pop those off. Got that out. Go ahead and remove that from its locator so it's out of the way. We can even take that all the way off right now. So now we've got our hanger removal tool. We'll go ahead and get these 2 muffler hangers off. And we've also got an extra set of hands. This is going to be very helpful to get this system off, as it needs to kind of finagle around the differential and the cross member up front. Now you want to make sure you are supporting your system as you remove this last hanger. We'll go ahead and lower our pole jack. Get that out of the way. Then we'll have to slide our system to the side. Let's get it down. So now we're going to have to bring our system back a hair. You want to make sure you don't catch it on any lines or anything like that. So once you get your mid-pipe flange across your cross member, you can start to go back forward. Drop the front of your system down. And go ahead and feed your system out. So now that we have everything off, we'll go ahead and pull this last rear hanger isolator off from our driver's side one that we set aside earlier. So we'll just go ahead and pop that right off and go ahead and set it aside.
So now with our factory exhaust removed, we just have one more thing that we need to pop off, and that's gonna be our tips. Now we've got 2 bolts going from the top down into the tip that are gonna be very hard to get to, and then we have one going from the front towards the back of the car, right above it, right about here, and that's gonna be the same on both sides. So I'm gonna get a flex head 10mm ratcheting wrench to get those 2 bolts going down, and then we can just grab a 10mm socket with an extension for the top bolt. So now I'm gonna start on the inner bolt going from the top down. I'm gonna take a 10mm ratcheting wrench. I'm gonna slide it in here behind the crash bar to get on there. And we don't have a lot of swing in here, so we're gonna be here a while. Now I'm switching to a 1/4 inch ratchet with a shallow 10mm socket to make this a little bit easier. And then you can do the same thing on the other side for the one going top down. It's gonna be pretty much impossible to get a camera angle on that one, but you're just gonna go in through the same hole.
And just getting it to the other side there to remove that one.
Now once you got the hard part done, you can kind of angle this down, and there's a 10mm bolt right back here that we can just get a 10mm socket with an extension on and remove. And then do that same thing for your other tip. So now we're ready to start installing our new exhaust. We're gonna start with our front pipe up at our flange. We're gonna be reusing our factory clamp. So we'll slide this up over the cross member and get our hanger into place, slide our clamp in place, and tighten it down. So now we can take our front pipe
and go up into our flange and then get our rod installed into our isolator.
And now we can come back to our flange, spread our clamp.
To get that over.
And then I'm gonna take a 13mm socket and tighten down the clamp. I'm gonna straighten out the pipe with one hand while I tighten it down with the other. Now next we're gonna install our muffler onto our front pipe. I've got a pole jack underneath our front pipe just to support the weight once we put the muffler on. So we're gonna take one of our clamps and slide over the muffler inlet, and then wiggle our muffler all the way onto our pipe. And then we can go back to the clamp and take a 15mm socket to tighten it down. So now we'll just get our clamp in place on the edge of our muffler inlet and take a 15mm socket, tighten that down. Now next we can install our over axle pipe. So we're gonna throw the split over the axle. And then I'm gonna get these rods into our rubber isolators first. And then we can slide that into our muffler outlet.
You might have to lower the pole jack a little bit to get some slack going.
And then once we have that fully seated into our muffler, slide the clamp into place and tighten it down with a 15mm socket. Next we can install our passenger side tailpipe. So we're gonna take one of our smaller clamps and just slide that over the edge of the pipe for now. And then we're gonna take our hanger and slide that on. And then we can raise this up onto the pipe. And then we'll get our hanger in place. And then with that hanger in place, we'll thread our bolt in. And we'll take a 15mm socket and tighten this one down. And then we can slide our clamp into place on the edge of the pipe and take that same 15mm socket to tighten that down. Now next we can install our crossover pipe. So I'm gonna take a clamp and get it on the edge there. And then work
that into your over the axle pipe.
And now I'm just gonna leave that clamp loose for now until we get our driver's side tailpipe in and get everything lined up, and then we'll come back for that guy. So now we can grab our driver's side tailpipe, slide a clamp over the edge, and then get our hanger slid onto the rod. Slide this onto our crossover pipe, and then raise this up and line up the pinhole, and then thread our bolt into the clip. And then we'll grab our 15mm socket to tighten down that bolt. And we'll get everything straightened out. Slide our clamp into place and tighten that down with a 15mm socket. And now we can go back to that clamp on the crossover pipe and take a 15mm socket to tighten that down. Now lastly, we can install our tips. So I'm gonna take our clamp and slide that onto the tailpipe first.
And then we'll get our tips onto the pipe and slide our clamp over
so that it sits over both. And then I'm gonna take a 13mm socket just to snug this up to hold to where we still have adjustment. And then you can adjust your tips to be straightened out. And then once you have them where you like them, you can go back with a 13mm socket and fully tighten that down. And then repeat the same process on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Borla S-Type dual exhaust system with chrome tips, rear exit for your 2019 and newer 5.3 liter Silverado and Sierra with factory dual exhaust. Thank you for watching, and for all things Sierra, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.